Phone call from my mom. I've been lurking here for a long time now, and I've posted an encounter once before under a throwaway account, but I just remembered this one and thought I would share. In 2012, I was living in a suburb of a small city with my boyfriend and 2 daughters, in an apartment complex in a pretty nice neighborhood. I was attending college and my boyfriend worked in the city, but because I was a young mother in college, I didn't really have a lot of friends at school, and the majority of my friends and family lived about an hour away. One weeknight, at about 2 to 3 a.m., I woke up to my phone ringing from a restricted number, and it was a woman crying. "Hi." My name. "It's your mom. Please come get me." I immediately got up and started getting dressed. My mom has had problems with drugs in the past, and I love her, but I wouldn't put it past her to get herself in a bad situation. As I mentioned before, my family lived an hour away, but I knew she had friends near me. I was too tired and too alarmed to really worry about why she had called me restricted. "Where are you?" I asked, and she replied that she was in the city close to me. I pressed her for more details, and she just kept on saying, "Please, hurry, come get me now." For some reason, it started to seem suspicious. The voice was crackling and sounded less and less like my mother, and more like a man trying to disguise his voice. And they were pushing too hard for me to just leave my apartment and start driving without any general direction to head in. Whoever it was just kept saying that I needed to leave right now, and I think they may have said something about a car breaking down or that they were waiting for me in a car. At the time, my mom didn't have a car or very reliable access to transportation, so in a moment of clarity, I grasped onto it and I asked as nonchalantly as possible, "Are you in the car or someone else's?" They said, "I'm in my car. Have you left?" I screamed, "My mom doesn't even have a car, you fucking psycho!" and hung up. My boyfriend was awake by this point, and he said that I should have played along once I knew it wasn't my mother, so he could go out and find out who it was. But I was too shaken up at that moment to do anything but respond with absolute anger. I never found out who it was. They called back a few minutes later, and my boyfriend answered the phone, and whoever it was just breathed into it for a while before hanging up. So, whoever the fuck called me that night, let's not meet. Phone stalker with a key to my apartment. When I was 22 years old, I moved 1,000 miles away from my Midwest home to the beautiful foothills of Tennessee. I had a new job, new car, and a nice apartment, but didn't know a soul outside of work. If my phone rang, I expected to hear a faraway family member or my long-distance boyfriend still in college. This was a landline, no cell phones yet. Despite being very alone, I was managing well with my excitement of all the new things in my life. I had only lived there for about 2 weeks when the unwanted calls started. The first call, a man's friendly voice asked what I was doing. I couldn't place him, and thought maybe it was one of my uncles or cousins. I have a huge extended family. I ask his name, he laughs a little, and his tone gets dark, a bit angry. He says, "You know exactly who this is, darling?" I pause, deciding if this guy simply called the wrong number or is a creep. I choose the former, laugh, and politely tell him that he has the wrong number. He then recites my brand new unlisted, unpublished phone number and my name. What the fuck? An intense chill races through me. I've only given my new number to my parents, my sister, my boyfriend, apartment manager, and employer. I'm new to the city and this lovely southern state. He does not like it when I tell him he called the wrong number and starts yelling at me. He tells me in a much calmer voice the many vulgar things he's going to do to me. I hang up and brush it off. He calls again around 1 a.m. I tell him to fuck himself and hang up. He keeps calling and calling, so I unplug the phone and return to sleep. However, as days go by, the calls continue and escalate. He starts mentioning personal things about me, said he liked the white quilt on my bed, knew what was in my fridge, that he's allergic to cats, I had one, and then asked me if I was in love with Marl. As I listened to his words, I was standing in my kitchen, looking at the calendar taped to the fridge. It had Marl written in pink on the 17th with a heart around it, because Marl is my sister, and the 17th is her birthday. I started shaking and crying because suddenly I realized this creep has been inside my apartment. I was alone, with no friends, no family to run to for the night. It was me versus a creepy, mysterious man. I didn't sleep much that night. Early the next morning, I talked to the apartment complex manager before heading to work, telling her what happened and that I want the locks changed that day. She gets a weird look on her face and, after a long pause, says she knows who has been in my apartment and that it won't happen again. What? Turns out she had a creepy, rapey maintenance guy who noticed a young woman moving into an apartment alone and thought I was his new pet. She had the locks changed immediately and promised that she would personally keep the other key. Although the call stopped, I was paranoid for a year as I came and went from my apartment because I never even knew what this guy looked like. I moved out the moment my lease was up. Only after thinking about it years later did I realize that her weird expression likely meant that it happened before. Plus, she didn't even fire him. I regret not calling the cops. I was young and naive. Stranger gets super creepy and sexual over the phone. So, about 6 months ago, I started getting random texts from a number with a Chicago area code. At first, they were pretty innocent, and I didn't think much of them. Hey, I think I left my watch in your car, and have you seen such and such movie yet? Stuff like that. Each time I type a brief response, saying something along the lines of, "Sorry, you've got the wrong number," and I'd go about my business. Now at first, maybe the first 3 to 5 weeks or so, these were pretty infrequent. I get a random text from a Chicago number about once a week, and I'd always respond the same way, saying they had the wrong number. I chalked it up to someone accidentally saving my number as one of their friends' numbers. Maybe they were 1 digit off or something, and they had made a typo. No big deal, right? After a month of this happening on a pretty regular, but not overly frequent basis, I decided just to be a bit smartass about it. So when this girl texted me out of the blue again, and at this point, it was only a hunch that she was female, I decided to respond by taking a selfie of myself, making a confused expression with a caption underneath that said, "I'm not sure why you keep texting me, but I'm definitely not who you're looking for." Almost immediately, I got a reply that said something along the lines of, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I thought you were my girlfriend messing with me." I found that strange, since women generally know their friends' numbers, and what friend would respond for over a month that you've had the wrong number? That's not exactly a great joke. So, okay, no big deal. She's a little slow on the uptake, but it's all worked out now. No harm done. The next day, I get another text from her that basically says that she loved my eyes so much in the picture that I sent her that she saved it. Okay, I didn't think that one through. Maybe shouldn't have sent a picture to a total stranger, but it's whatever. I have very unique, bright green eyes and very long eyelashes, which for a guy is, I guess, pretty unusual. I get compliments on my eyes and eyelashes from total strangers on an almost daily basis. It's always a little flattering, but it's never really creeped me out or anything like that. I just thank them usually and I move on with my life. I didn't answer her text though, because I was a little creeped out this time. The fact that she had saved my picture. I just figured now that she had acknowledged that she was texting a stranger. If I ignored her, she'd just stop, right? I was wrong. What had been random texts about once a week became a flurry of texts. It started as complimenting about my eyes and my beard, and continued on to basic getting to know you questions. Name, age, where are you from, stuff like that. Keep in mind, I had made up my mind I wasn't going to respond to her anymore, so I hadn't answered any of her texts. Apparently, she picked up on this because she started sending me pictures of herself, trying to get me to respond. What do you think of my smile? Is red a good color on me? Should I cut my hair shorter? Just weird random stuff, accompanied by a selfie each time. She isn't unattractive, but I've been in a committed relationship for over 4 years now. I just got engaged about 5 months ago, and my fiance is my world. We're soulmates, and I'm going to spend the rest of my life with her, as corny as that sounds. And I am the first to admit that I am marrying up, way, way up. My fiancée is a knockout, she's stunning, and she has the most beautiful mind of anyone I've ever met. Needless to say, I'm hopelessly devoted to her, and by some miracle, she feels the same way about me. So I have a really good thing going, and am in absolutely no way interested in a creepy texting stranger. Obviously, my fiancée knows about creepy texting stranger, and she found it all a bit amusing, joking about my not-so-secret admirer and so on. But eventually, I just got tired of it. I don't know that I could say I was being harassed, but it definitely became a nuisance, so I blocked her number on my phone and thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. It ended the text for a few days, but after that, I started getting texts from her again from a different number, each time accompanied by a picture, and many other numbers. Still nothing obscene, but starting to get more sexual. Pictures of her legs in fishnets, pictures of her pulling her shirt down to expose too much cleavage, pictures of her ass in tight jeans, or shorts, or leggings, or whatever. Each picture with a message asking if I liked it or if she was turning me on, etc. I should mention that almost all of these texts were coming from different numbers. I assume she was using a texting app or something to get different numbers every day to message me with, so I just blocked each new number and moved on. After a while, maybe 2-ish months of this happening nearly every day, she started getting more sexual and much more sexual. I mean, downright perverted. Fully nude pictures, legs spread, playing with herself, toys, longer and longer messages, with the pictures describing in detail how she wanted to be fucked, what her orgasms were like, intimate details about her dirtiest sexual desires, really raunchy and vulgar stuff. Now, I know some of you guys out there are probably reading this and thinking, dude, you hit the fucking jackpot, but as I mentioned, I am hopelessly devoted to my soon-to-be wife, and I was never excited or aroused by anything she sent me. Just thoroughly creeped out. Again, she's not unattractive, but she's nowhere near what I have waiting for me at home, so it was always kinda like, oh, more random tits. Or, oh look, a green vibrator today. And it just became old and gross very quickly and thoroughly unattractive. I just started deleting any text from random numbers without even reading them. Anyways, this nonsense continued for another couple months until finally several days ago, I had a stroke of brilliance and I responded to her messages for the first time in months. And here's what I said. I want you to be aware that I've collected every single picture you've sent to me, which is absolutely not true. I haven't saved a single one. And if you ever message me again, I'm going to take every single one of those pictures and create a website for them. I am then going to advertise that website on your local Chicago Craigslist personnel section and include the number that you originally texted me on all those months ago for all those Craigslist creeper people to contact. Anyways, it seems to have done the trick. Today is the 5th day in a row that I haven't received any text from random numbers with dirty pictures and filthier descriptions of what she wants to be done. Maybe with a little luck, I won't ever hear from her again. Hopefully the idea of countless Chicago creepers hitting her up scared her off. My fingers are crossed, but I've decided if she ever messages me again, I'll finally just change my number that I've had for 11 years. So, creepy sex-mad text slut, I never actually met you, but here's fervently hoping that we never ever meet, or that I ever hear from you again.